Hey folks, it's John with Ozarks Back Roads. We're in the Ozark Mountain Cave here today, and we've got our bearings in finally for our FJR. They showed up. I got about 3 days till we're ready to head out on our trip out to Arizona, and getting a little nervous, wondering if they were going to show up, but they finally did. So we're going to get this wheel back together, get these bearings installed and get it back on the FJR. And then we'll see what we're going to load up on this thing, see what we need to take out with us for a 2-week trip on the FJR. So stick around. Love to have you come along for the ride. I'm going to put just a little grease in here to help this bearing slide down into place. Not a lot, but a little bit. Ideally, you'd want to use a press on this, but I don't have one. So. I believe she's down. You can definitely hear it when it hits bottom. Just like that. Now we're going to turn this over. Install our sleeve. A little more grease. I've got to have that sleeve centered so my shaft will go in. I got to pay attention. Okay, we're there. Let's see if we can line this up. Ooh. Oh yeah. Okay, I got the sleeve lined up so my axle will go in. I'll go ahead and tap that down tight. Yep. Both bearings are turning. I believe we got it. Got my spacer seals in here on both sides. We're ready to put this bad boy together. At least I'm ready. I'm going to go ahead and put my spacers in. Put a little grease on here where they're running the seals. The wide one goes over here on this side, and the narrow one, the thinner one, goes over here on this side. Now the fun part, we got to get this on. This holds the wheel speed sensor. It's tight to get in there. And it's got a notch in it here that fits on a pip here on the inside of the leg. So it has to go in a certain place. Alright. About like that. Put a little bit of grease here to help it slide through the, nothing spins on it, but it'll help it slide through the sleeves on the bearings a little bit maybe. At least it'll make me feel better. And she's in. I think I even got it in the notch like it should be. Cool. Easier than I thought. I'm going to get both of these, open the brake pads all the way up. It's got 4 pads and 4 pistons, so get all 4 of them spread apart. See if I can get this back on here. It's a really tight fit. There we go. That's not too bad. Got to raise them up as high as you can. It's like about 30 foot-pounds on those. We got to measure for this. According to the manual, we'll do that in a minute. Let me get this other caliper on. Okay, now we're going to install our little bolt here on the end of our axle. Pinch bolts on both sides of the legs are loose, they're open. So the legs can move around on the axle. We're going to tighten this nut. It's going to pull the bearings that tied against this leg, the whole assembly. But the axle will still be loose in these legs. The book's very specific, 66 pounds right here. I'm holding it on the other side. Okay. Now before we tighten these pinch bolts up, we've got to do one other thing. There's a measurement for the depth of the hole that this wheel speed sensor mounts in right here. We've got to measure that whenever we replace the wheel bearings. It says to measure the depth of that hole, and it gives you some specifications on how deep it can be or supposed to be. So we need to do that to make sure that our wheel's centered up properly. In other words, we got our bearings in properly. I'm going to use the depth gauge on my veneer calipers here and just run this in until it hits the sensor. This has got to be flush against where the sensor mounts right here, and then we'll just go in and see how deep it is to the sensor, to that sensor ring that's on the inside there. So I'll set this up. There, it's hit the sensor ring. 1 inch, 145 thousandths. I'll lock that down. We'll see what we're supposed to be here. Okay, we're supposed to be at 1.135 to 168, and we're at 145. So we're right in the center of the measurement. We're good on that. That good indication we got the wheel bearing seated properly and it's all installed correctly. So we can go ahead and put our sensor in now. It's not going to hit the ring inside. It's the correct depth. Now we're ready to do our pinch bolts here. Everything's loose on the axle, and we're supposed to go 15 pounds. We're supposed to do the outer one, or I'm sorry, the inner one, then the outer one, inner one and outer one again. And that's why it gets tighter and tighter. Okay, so here we are on the right side. This is our last set of pinch bolts we're going to tighten up. I'm in tight here. I wanted you to see this. This leg end here is loose on the axle. If you look, see, it's loose. I can move it back and forth. So the tube is in where it needs to be. It's loose. It's not under pressure sideways. It's just hanging out of the fork leg here under no pressure, and that's the way we want it. We want both tubes just to be neutral so we don't wear the bushings up here. So we do the same procedure here. Inner, outer, 15 pounds. I believe we just installed our front wheel properly, and no dangly washer, no extra parts. Cool. Well, the last thing I'm going to do here, I've pumped my front brake calipers out, my pads out against the rotors. I just want to bounce the bike up and down and make sure the front suspension is working properly. There's no binding, nice and smooth, and it is. As far as I can push it, but I can tell it's smooth. So I think we did okay on that. Well, I received an interesting email the other day. I thought I'd share with you all. The old FJR, my 2013 that I used to ride, I traded that in at a dealership on this 2018 I've got here, and I received an email from the new owner. A fellow bought my old bike from me, and he got a hold of me and sent me an email and was telling me him and his wife were enjoying the bike. He's down in Texas, and he's got a son that's also got an FJR, and he sent me a couple of pictures of him out riding around. I thought I'd throw that up. The fellow's name is Dale Phillips. I appreciate you, Dale, for sending me in your pictures, and glad to hear from you. I hope you're enjoying the bike. Looked like you were. The next thing we want to do here is I thought I'd just go over some of the things that I take with me when I go out on like a 2-week trip we're fixing to do. I always wonder what people carry with them. And so I'll kind of go over what I carry in my saddlebags here and what I take with me, and I'd love to hear from you guys, what you guys carry with you when you go out on trips and stuff. So we'll kind of run over that real quick and see what we carry with us here when we go on a big trip. We'll look at a few things that go in the side bags, I guess, first. This is my tool sack. All my tools that I carry with me, hand tools and whatnot, go in here. We'll look in this in a minute. I carry a foot pump in case if I need to air up a tire, if I have to plug a tire or something, air it up. So this is pretty large, but it's kind of worth it. I've used pumps several times. I've never had to use it on my own tire, but I've helped other people a few times, and those are really nice. You know they're going to work for you. I carry a voltage meter with me just in case I have any electrical issues. It's small. It doesn't take up a lot of space. I can put it in the tool bag or whatever. Throw that in there. I carry a jump pack, a Jumpstart Pack, so I can jump a dead battery on a bike or a car or whatever. It'll do whatever. That's a pretty good thing to have. Make sure it's charged up. And I've used this to help other people. So far I haven't had to jump any of my own stuff yet. Then the other thing that's kind of important, I think, is a tire plug kit, repair kit. So I got a bunch of plugs in here and the little tool to do it with. I even got 4 of these canisters here. I don't know why I still carry them. I carried them before I had the pump, but anyhow, they're in there. What else do we carry? Cap for my head, keep the sun off of it. This is just a lock for my helmet. I can leave my helmet sitting on the side case, run the strap through it and clip it onto the rail and lock it up. I can leave my helmet out. I don't have room to put my helmet anywhere when I'm loaded up and traveling. I just have to lock it onto the bike when I go in for lunch or whatever. A disc lock. I carry one of those. I keep my disc locked up at night when I'm at a hotel just for extra safety. So hopefully my bike will be there when I get up in the morning. I carry a tire pressure gauge, a little digital gauge here with me. Check my tire pressure every morning. A flashlight is always good in case something happens you need to see at night. This may be the most important item I carry on me is the bottle of ibuprofen. That keeps me on the bike all day long if I get to hurting. There you go. Sunscreen when you're out west. Boy, you can't, I have to have it. My skin's from Western Europe and it just don't take sun at all. So I carry a lot of sunscreen with me. The other thing I carry up in the top case, the top rack, is 3 or 4 or 5 of these and a bottle of Windex so I can clean the bugs off of the windshield or whatever when I stop for fuel, so I can keep where I can see through that, and you get a lot of bugs when you're traveling. And then of course I'll have a heavy coat. I always travel with a buffalo hide leather heavy jacket, and then a light mesh jacket just to keep the sun off of me in the heat. I'll wear that in the daytime when it's hot, and then if I'm up in the mountains or whatever and I need more, I've got the leather, and I also have a liner I can put on before the jacket, so I can stay pretty warm that way. Also, there will be a set of frog togs. Some waterproofs will go in the side cases on top of this stuff. Everything else in the top case is my camera equipment. I'll have like 3 camera bags set in there, and then this stuff will kind of be set around it. So that takes up most of the top case. The laptop sits in the bottom of it, and then I'll have like 3 camera bags on top of that. We can go ahead and open up the tool bag here and kind of see what kind of tools. I mean, it's real easy just to stuff everything in here and just, well, whatever I need, I got it. But weight's a real deal when you're loading all this stuff up. You can get too heavy real quick, so I try to be as conservative as possible. I always carry tie wraps with me. I don't know how we survived as a species before these were invented, but somehow we made it, but I'm not sure how. Let's see. I'll carry a metric socket rail with me, a ratchet and an extension, and then you got to have your Allen keys, because about everything on these bikes is Allen pretty much, so those work with the ratchet, and then just a set of keys there. A couple of pair of pliers for some serious work, pretty handy. A couple of screwdrivers, probably something like that. A straight, a Phillips, and a small thin one, thin straight one. There's another set of pliers. There's a longer extension, and then end wrenches, box end wrenches, metrics. And just the sizes that are used on the bike. 8s, 10s, 14s, 17s. Then the other thing I'll carry here in my toolkit will be these big Allens for taking the front and rear wheels off. I'm not gonna. This is heavy. I'm not going to take all this. I'll just take the 2 Allens that I need. One for the front wheel and one for the back. Just the 2 bits I'll throw in there, and then the stuff that I can't use will stay home. So that's pretty much all the tools that I carry in the tool bag. And then the only other thing I'll have on the bike will be my dry sack that I strap on the back seat, and that's just my clothes. You know, just jeans and shirts and socks and underwear and stuff like that. If I'm out 2 weeks, I'll probably do laundry at least once and probably twice. So I'll have like 4 days of clothes that I can wear and then do laundry, and then that seems to work pretty good for me. Most motels now will have a laundry where you can do your laundry. So that's pretty easy to find. So 4 days of clothes seems to work good for me. Alright folks, well, we got the FJR all put back together and ready to go. Kind of went over a few things that I'm going to be carrying with me when I travel. I'd like to hear from you guys what y'all carry when you go on trips. I think the next stop will probably be Moab, Utah. We'll catch up with you there. I might do a little bit of footage going through Colorado or something, but I think Moab, we're going to ride up and down the Colorado River there, and some really pretty canyons just north of Moab. It's awesome, and I'm looking forward to that and getting the drone up in there. The first time I was there a couple of years ago, I knew I wanted to come back with a drone because it's just awesome. But we'll be in Moab, and then we'll go on west from there. So I appreciate you all hanging with me today, and invite you to come back, and we'll go out west and see what's shaking out there. So until I catch up with you again, you all take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you later.